And I'm proud that Ghana has contributed its share of legal minds to this august cause over the years.
On this very date, to honor the defenseless ex-servicemen who in 1948 were killed by the colonial police while marching peacefully to the Osu Castle to present a petition to the then governor. During the Second World War, soldiers of the Gold Coast Regiment of the Royal West African Frontier Force fought alongside the Allied forces. At the end of the war, there was increased agitation by anti-colonial movements for independence for colonies in Southeast Asia and Africa.
The roll call. 174145 001 Samuel Karkari. 176686 001 Moses Asim. GC 36098 Sergeant Ajete. GC 36098 Sergeant Ajete. GC 36098 Sergeant Ajete. Absent, sir.
The 69th President's Independence Day Awards have just concluded here in Accra under the theme Building Prosperity, Restoring Hope. The ceremony held to recognize outstanding academic performance saw 52 exceptional students from basic schools across the country honored for their results in the 2025 Basic Education Certificate Examination. These students were carefully selected by the Ghana Education Service, ensuring fairness and transparency. Now, the Deputy Minister for Education, Honorable Dr. Clement Abbas-Apart, delivered a welcome address on behalf of the Minister for Education, setting the tone for a day celebrating excellence.
We have 32 awardees from public schools from each region, 1 male and 1 female. We have 16 students from private schools. We have 2 students who are the best visually impaired students as far as the 2025 BEC is concerned. And we have 2 hearing impaired students, 1 from the Eastern and 1 from the Greater Accra region. This regional and inclusive structure reflects a deliberate national commitment. Excellence must be identified everywhere, and opportunity must reach everyone.
A distinguished guest of honor, Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, used the occasion to commend young achievers while also raising concerns over rising cases of vandalism, assaults, and disrespect in schools. She assured that the Ministry of Education is taking strategic steps to review and strengthen school discipline framework nationwide.
This year's Independence Day theme, that is building prosperity, restoring hope, is a call to action to all of us, especially our young people. Prosperity is not built by infrastructure and policies alone. It is also built by law-abiding students and citizens who understand that personal conduct has national repercussions. We have seen troubling developments, including reports of exam malpractices in some schools, vandalism, and increasing disrespect towards school authorities and rules. Only a small percentage of our youth engage in these behaviors. However, they risk undermining national progress and sending the wrong signals about the Ghana we want. In response to these concerns, therefore, the Ministry of Education, through the Ghana Education Service and key stakeholders, are working to strengthen discipline and value-based education across our schools.
And the President's Independence Day Award ceremony, instituted over 3 decades ago, have become a hallmark of Ghana's independence celebration, sponsored by Nestle Ghana Limited. The awards aim to not only reward academic excellence, but also to foster personal development and inspire other students across the nation. From the Accra International Conference Center, I am Stanley Koblaku, Open Africa News.
Work spanned 21st March 2025 to 30th April 2025. It received 43 reports from institutions and individual petitioners. Of the 43 institutions, 36 appeared before the committee. At the end of its work, the committee made the following findings. 1. Of the 36 institutions that appeared before it, 28 had commenced the recruitment processes before the 7th December elections. 2. A total of 13 institutions revoked appointments made in a response to the 7th of December 2024 revocation directive. 17 institutions did not revoke their appointments but sought guidance from the Office of the President. 16 of the cases reported by the institutions were mainly payroll-related. In total, there were 2,080 recruitments, appointments, and promotions that were reported by institutions when they appeared before the committee. Now, out of the 2,080 recruitments, appointments, and promotions, 879 were revoked by the institutions themselves, while 1,201 appointments were left unrevoked. After the hearings, the committee recommended that 1,539 of the recruitments, appointments, and promotions be upheld because they complied with the prescribed recruitment and promotion procedures and received appointment letters before 7 December 2024. And this also implies that they achieved a pass mark of above 80%. The committee recommended, however, that the recruitments, appointments, and promotions of 541 persons be revoked because the recruitment processes ended after 7 December 2024 and failed to meet the pass mark. In other words, they also did not comply with the processes and guidelines slated or designed to govern that process. Also, the number of recruitments, appointments, and promotions recommended for revocation by the committee was lower than the number that the institutions themselves revoked in the wake of the Chief of Staff's directive. As I indicated, the number was 879 in all. That's the number of recruitments, promotions, and appointments that were revoked. Now, this differential is because the committee paid special attention to vulnerable groups, including persons with disabilities, particularly within the Ghana Education Service. There were some of our compatriots who suffered some disability, but we found that their recruitments should be revoked because it did not comply with the laid-down process. But because of their peculiar situation and the hardship that could be imposed upon them if we were to enforce this directive, they were given some clemency, and therefore they have been allowed to regularize their processes in order that they stay within the public service and earn an income.
This divine message speaks directly to the essence of diplomacy: mutual respect, understanding across cultures, and cooperation for the common good. Your Excellencies, we are living in very challenging times, particularly for our brothers and sisters in the Muslim world. Our collective conscience is being called upon at a time of
He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom.
Good morning and welcome to today's edition of Alhaji and Alhaji. We are live on Pan-African Television. We're also live on Radio Gold 90.5 FM and its affiliate stations across the country. Don't forget to join in the conversation by sending in your views, comments, and contributions on our WhatsApp /text line. I'll be reading those messages out for you. Those of you watching us on Facebook can share the Facebook Live for other people to also watch this morning's edition of the program. This morning on Alhaji&Alhaji, we are looking at very critical and important topics. We'll be looking at the analysis on the Israel, US, and Iran conflict. Also, we'll be looking at, Ghana's 69th independence celebration, and then the Ayawaso East by-election. I've been joined in the studio by Mujib Rahman. Mujib Rahman is a member of the MPP communications team. Also in the studio is Mr. Philip Langdon. He is the Vice Chairman, United Party, and Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., who is the General Secretary of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. We're also expecting Nia Boy Anand, who is a member of the NDC communications team. As and when he joins, he'll be part of the discussion. But I'll start with you, Mujib, on the issue of Iran, Israel, and the U.S. conflict.
Thank you very much, Justice, and for the opportunity. It's unfortunate, but that's where we found ourselves. And looking at what is happening in the Middle East, that America and Israel are on the neck of Iran, I don't think it's surprising, because if you understand or you have been following the world politics and then also study the world politics more, you will come to understand that America always go for their interests. They don't care what the rest of the world stand for. But I think that it's unfortunate this time, because even look at this, I think for the past week or two, economists, things have started to change. And analysts are saying that if we are not careful and this thing persists, it is going to affect the world as a whole, especially smaller countries in the world. Ghana, we are going to suffer and experience it. Justice, I listened to Donald Trump last night, and he's still saying that there's not going to be any negotiation unless Iran surrender unconditionally, and I laugh. And when you also listen to the Iranians, I think that they are also on their feet and they are not prepared to give in. But at the end of the day, I always ask myself, who loses? In the war, per the reports we are getting, what we are reading, American soldiers are dying, Israeli people are dying, Iranians are dying. So at the end of the day, like they say saying, that there can't be a war, real war, without a casualty. So whether you think you are the strongest, but in one way or the other, you will be affected. And that is what we are experiencing. And Justice, truly, you ask yourself, to what end? What is America seeks to achieve, especially in the recent one? We don't want to go, I don't want to go into the details sometimes, but at least there should be a fair and justice in society. Let them also do what they want to do. What happens to the laws, the international laws that we have, and we are priding ourselves as a people for? Iran is a sovereign country, just like America is a sovereign country. Even that one we can call the existence, I don't want to get into that, of Israel into questions. But at least they can also believe that they are a sovereign state. And what happened to the Palestinians? How we are getting the argument? Not long ago, we saw what happened in Venezuela. It is because of the interest America have in Venezuela. And even, he doesn't even care what Congress sees. What he just wakes up and decides to do it, what goes on. We believe and we concede that it's a powerful nation in the world. But at least we all exist to support each other. When he wanted support and Spain and UK were in Nigeria, you got that President Trump became angry. But at least they asked, why, how? Can't we dialogue? Can't we negotiate and get things done? The only solution is always at war with each other. No. But it is, a lot of things are unfolding. Now, I read, and then the Israelis are also crying the type of bombs, missiles the Iranians are using now. I think they describe it as a crime against, is it crime against humanity or war crime, something like that. And I said, but now nobody controls the other. There's no law that determines that the type of missile or weapon I should use to also defend myself. And look at the Middle East. Bases of America, bases are now targets. And they are also bombing and achieving. Look at the money Trump is asking from the people of America just because of the Iran conflict to support its military. Now, from what we are reading, is it their warship, or what did they call it? Is it the Abraham something? It's now nowhere it was. You see, so that is how it is. But at the end of the day, look at the rest of the world. It's not in our interest. It's not in our interest, Justice. This is not the time for war. But that is America. They always go for their interest, whether it's just or not. In some parts of their own past president's statement, there can be a big fortune without a crime in it. That is exactly what we are seeing. Iran is an oil-producing country, vast oil-producing country, and nobody can tell me America doesn't want their oil or they don't have interest in Iran. Why must you always go for regime change? Are you the world prophet? Must you effect change in Libya? It has happened. What are we experiencing now? Iraqi, we saw what happened. What are we experiencing now? Many other places. Today, it is Iran. I mean, the unfortunate now, you go to buy fuel, it's less cheaper. And if these things continue, now 91% dollars per barrel, it is escalating. And if it persists, it will go. And nobody need to tell us that it will affect us as a country. And if that happens, a lot of things will be thrown out of jail. It's unfortunate though, but I think that I don't support war, and I don't think that America should be at the forefront of this. It is needless. They can get dialogue to get. Let's respect the rules. Let's respect the conventions. And it is two. I look at it from two fronts. It is because of the Israel protection, and it is because of the interests of the United States of America. These are the two front reasons why Trump thinks he should do what he's doing. But we are all human beings. Let's go back to what the world is agitating for. We can have two states in Israel-Palestinian and respect each other's fundamental human rights and move as a people of the world. What is wrong with that? Justice, what is wrong with that? Why is it that Americans don't want that to happen? It's natural resources. You also have some things others don't have. But if they want it, they can use mighty to come and exert their interest. Let me draw your attention to something. This is the day before yesterday. I was reading. I think Ghana is now trying to raise our gold royalty. Is it from 2% to 12%, something like that? Right from what we also will get. And sources is saying that America is not trying to agree and is putting pressure on Ghana government not to do that. Why? If that is true, why should that be so? 90 years of existence as a country, independent state. And we think that sovereign state for that matter. And this is the part, it is enough. It's high time we also increase this one. And there's going to be that perceived international pressure. I don't want to believe it, but if that is true, and I think that it should be ignored and we carry it, because it is the interest of Ghana. What will benefit us is what we should be concentrating on and looking at, not what will benefit others outside. But we are watching, and we'll continue to watch what is happening locally. But this thing, some are also happy. I also have power. Maybe you think you are more powerful than me. You bomb, I also bomb. You bomb, I also bomb. That is what we are experiencing now. And unfortunately, I don't think the world media is giving us the accurate reportage of what is happening in the Gulf. Especially when you hear or you listen to what the Iranian state televisions are doing. So sometimes the report you see that it's conflicting. America will come and BBC or CNN will come and tell you this is what has happened. Later we see a counter. But at the end of the day, the truth shall prevail and the truth shall come out. But the effects is what we'll be grappling with at the end of the day. Those that it doesn't concern and sit in our own places. But we'll get the effect of this needless conflict that is going on. So I don't support it. I think that there are better ways. And I think the world should rise up. The world should speak. The world should rise up and the world should speak. Or other than that, this thing justice, where we are gravitating towards, you know, already, the geopolitics. Today, we are getting reports that Russia is giving intelligence of where American military personnel are. where their aircrafts are, and they are bombarding. All these things, where is it leading to? And you know the position of Russia, you know the position of North Korea, you know the position of China. And you take these people to Germany, UK, France, Spain, you know their position. So I am praying fervently we don't get to that aspect of it. But I think that if we get there, I don't think America will get it easy. But nobody disputes the fact that we are a powerful nation. But you don't just get up and think that justice as a president of Pirihi is not doing very well. We might get justice out. And even if you don't want justice, but there are laid down rules and regulations. Yeah, we are not saying that the unfortunate supreme leader that was killed was a perfect person, 100% perfect. No. And just as you are still a law student, there are certain circumstances that you don't get absolute rights as a citizens of a state. We as a country, Ghana, we experienced it at a point in our life. When Jerry John Rawlings took their guns and seized political power, people had to sleep from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. You think that was what they wish? No, that wasn't what they... There are certain circumstances that certain things has to happen to get certain results. But there must be complaints. Yeah, there are excesses in Iran, human rights violations, atrocities, people sentencing unjust and other way. We are not saying that those things are right, but there are better ways that it can be handled. There are better ways that we can get the fundamental and the human rights of the people of Iran to be restored as a world people, but not what we are experiencing and what is going on. Look at the Gulf now. Ooh, everybody, airports have closed. Nobody need to tell you that others, you are also getting the pinch of it because your economy, the business you are doing. Now, Saudi Arabia, one of their largest oil processing refinery, has to be closed down. For how many days now? Imagine the amount of dollars that they are losing. Hope you are getting the argument. So nobody is going to emerge as a winner at the end of the day. But I think that the world should rise up. This needless war we are experiencing has to stop. Let's tell Donald Trump that this is not the time and we are not interested in this. There are better ways as a world, civilized world, that we can move, not what we are experiencing. Killing innocent people, bombarding infrastructure, students, people, school people. That is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. And I condemn it in total. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mujib, for your submission. Now let me come to Mr. Philip Lambton.
Thank you. My brother.
Mujib.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too, my brother.
Remind me of where I was coming from.
Yes, yes, but I still believe that we will still come to you. You come together. You know, the major family you come.
Yes, the war is troubling the whole world. From the time the Americans or Donald Trump started amassing the military buildup in the region, the Persian region, the world started getting concerned that things could go bad. Indeed, in spite of all those apprehensions, many didn't believe that it would actually come to that. The assumption was that, like what they used to do many years ago, gunboat diplomacy. You come and put their gunboats outside your shores. As well, putting pressure on you to accept their terms. So that was what a lot of countries, a lot of people had anticipated or were expecting. Lo and behold, just about a week ago, the attack started. When it started, we heard first it was the Israelis who attacked, so the Americans had to attack. Then the Americans said no, they attacked and the Israelis had to come and support them. Even that one, we're not sure. From American sources, high-level sources, they said They were out for regime change. Take out the leadership of Iran, and that would be the end of the matter. They did that in the initial hours of the conflict, and nothing has changed. They are talking about so many. So you can see that this war wasn't something that was carefully planned with a definite agenda, with an end game in view. They have just attacked. And now what is happening? The allies of America in the Western countries were not consulted. When the Canadian Prime Minister called the American President and asked him, how can you engage in such an exercise without consulting us, your close allies? He said, you are not my close ally. I do what I like. When the British and the other Europeans were asked, they said, no, we are not going to. We will not participate in this. Because they know the consequences of this. They've done it before. They went to Iraq under false pretenses, and they saw the consequences in their countries. The effects on their economies, the effects on the world economy. So they realized that, no, this is the kind of thing that you don't go about it the way the Americans were going about it. The American other allies in the region, on whose territories the Americans have their bases, have always believed that they were the closest allies of the Americans. But what did they see? America was using all their defenses to defend Israel and left them unprotected. They say, hey, is that how it is? I thought I was your friend. Oh. So now even those allies are now beginning to rethink their relationship with the United States. So the United States now is becoming increasingly isolated because they have defied, like I used to say, all the international protocols and everything. They've completely defied everything, and they're just doing what they like. Now, the Strait of Hormuz, as people had feared, has now become a no-go area. That narrow 30-mile wide strait where 25% of the world's oil production goes through, it's now virtually impassable. So all the oil from that area is not coming. So world oil price is shooting up as everybody has feared. And even in Ghana, that we are saying that the Petroleum Commission or whoever, they were saying that we have 5 weeks or 5 months supply. Master, you cannot. How soon? It's just 1 week. 1 week has passed so fast. 5 weeks will pass in no time. So the effects of these things will hit us too. The skies above Iran, and much of the Middle East area has been closed to commercial air travel. So now all flights coming across that area are having to go round. The flights are taking longer, the tickets are costing more, and the disruption to travel. So this war has created a lot of problems. And no country is immune. No country would think that, oh, it's not affecting us because so far away. Just yesterday, our UNIFIL battalion in Lebanon came under attack. My condolences to them, my sympathies to the troops who have suffered injuries. You know, and it has affected. Ghana has taken a direct hit in this matter. So this war that has come up, and it's only just started. Now the wider problem is right now as we speak. It's been 1 week. Yesterday, one agency in America came out and said that it's cost the U.S. economy about $3.1 billion so far. Just 1 week. Military commanders in the United States are also informing us that certain armaments, the precision-guided missiles that cost so much. They are running out of them. Because they were firing the missiles far faster than they are being produced. So they are depleting their stocks. Even with these precision-guided missiles, missiles that can actually turn in flight to seek their targets. Even with those precise missiles, look at the casualty rates we are getting. Now they are saying, oh, don't worry. Even if those missiles are getting finished, we have the conventional missiles and bombs. Gravity directed. So they'll just drop the bomb in the air, then the bomb will just find its way down. And it is those bombs that create the worst casualty situations. Because their targets can never be precise. So we are getting into a very dangerous sphere. And the history has shown us that America, they always think that they are the most powerful military. Look at what happened to them in Vietnam. In spite of everything, what happened? In 1979, Russia invaded Afghanistan. The Americans supported the Mujahideen to fight the Russians, gave them shoulder-fired missiles. They gave the Russians hell. Russia left Afghanistan. And in the end, what did the Americans do? They abandoned their agents, the people they had sponsored, the Osama bin Ladens, who had been their agents before. They abandoned them. And in the process, created Osama bin Laden. Then they went to Afghanistan. Upon all the bombs they dropped in Afghanistan, upon everything they did in Afghanistan, in the end, what happened? They had to run away from Afghanistan virtually with their tails between their legs. If you are powerful, they are the world's most powerful army. Is that how you leave Afghanistan? Now, we saw what happened in Libya. We saw what happened in Iraq. The hard time they had in Iraq. The number of American troops that died in Iraq. Now, they've gone to Iran. Iran has been expecting them. Because Iran knows that these people, they are crazy. We too will show them we too are crazy. So Iran is not going to be a cup of tea. And world strategists are watching. How come the Iranians have slowed down right now? They haven't slowed down. They've seen that the Americans are wearing out. In war, so sometimes your best attack position is when your enemy thinks he has got you. So the Americans will continue thinking that they have beaten the Iranians. They keep saying, oh, the number of Iranian drones and missiles that are flying have reduced. Yes, they are repositioning. So this war, the consequences are going to be dire. And the whole world is going to be affected. It is my hope, like the hopes of all progressive people around the world, is that some sense will prevail and the attacks will stop. Because if it continues, the consequences will be worse for all of us. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your submission. Now let me come to Mr. Pratt.
Well, for me, sitting where I'm sitting this morning, the most important thing is that nobody, no country, no region can escape from the consequences of this reckless war, which has been imposed upon the Iranian people by Netanyahu and Donald Trump. As we speak, as we sit in this studio, 2 Ghanaian soldiers are in critical condition, having been injured by an Israeli assault on Ghana's United Nations mission. This is clearly an affront to Ghana. In the last war between Hezbollah and Israel, Israel attacked the Ghanaian base, destroyed Ghanaian equipment and so on. Ghanaian soldiers were under attack. I think the time has come for the government of Ghana to speak clearly. The time has come for the government of Ghana to state its position on what is happening, at least with regards to what is happening to Ghanaian soldiers. We sent those soldiers there to go and make a contribution to world peace. We cannot keep quiet and refuse to take action when they come under attack. Unjustified attack. We must speak out. I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, what have we said to Israel? Israel is constantly attacking the Ghanaian position. What have we said to Israel? Why is the Israeli ambassador allowed to walk about freely and to talk all the nonsense he's been talking for several years? By now, the Israeli ambassador should have been summoned and given a strong warning that Ghana would not tolerate attack on its troops. Israel must understand that we would not tolerate any attack on Ghanaian troops. And the message must be strong and clear. I'm shocked it hasn't happened yet. You understand? But it must happen. And our government must understand that its first and foremost responsibility is to the Ghanaian people. Our government must understand that very clearly. Why? We voted for this government to protect our interests. And the protection of our interests must involve the protection of our troops wherever they are. So I'm waiting to see what action the Ghana government is going to take on this matter. Now, beyond the reckless attack on Ghanaian peacekeepers by Israel, there are many things that are happening which will have consequences for every nation in the world. You see, already, the price of petrol is moving towards the $100 per barrel mark. If it does, every country's economy will be affected, including Ghana. I'm told by the analysts and so on that the price of gas would increase even more dramatically than the price of crude. So, what would the consequences be for all of us? My colleagues have already spoken about the importance of the Strait of Hormuz. 20% of the world's energy resources pass through the Strait of Hormuz. The disruption of that passage would have serious consequences for all of us. European countries, Asian countries, Latin American countries, and African countries. What is our position on the war? I mean, as an African, I was very deeply embarrassed when I read the AU statement on what is happening. And the AU conveniently jumps into the middle and calls on all parties to respect international law and so on. What a ridiculous position for the AU to take. But that's the AU position. That's how spineless African leaders have become. Africa no longer speaks loudly in the interest of its people. Africa no longer speaks for principle and so on. And I'm embarrassed. This is not the Organization of African Unity that Kwame Nkrumah, Modibo Keita, Sekou Touré, and others wanted to construct. And I'm very deeply embarrassed by the position which was taken by the AU. In any case, let's be clear. What is the US and Israel claiming to be the reason for this reckless attack on a sovereign state? The US and Israel started off by saying that, look, we don't want the Iranians to acquire a nuclear weapon, to make a nuclear weapon. That's their position, okay?
Yeah.
And apparently, what they're saying is that this is in opposition to the Iranian nuclear program. Check the facts. This nuclear program was started in 1957. It's not new. The Iranian nuclear program was started in 1957. It was started with the assistance of the United States and the Western powers. In fact, by the middle of the program, the United States alone had trained more than 4,000 nuclear experts from Iran. Germany was supplying parts. France was involved, and so on. 1957. Now, there's something very, very significant. They are complaining about the level of enrichment of uranium. Under American supervision, the Iranian nation enriched uranium to the level of 95%. Can you believe it? Under American supervision, Iran enriched uranium to the level of 95%. So, what has changed? So, America cannot be, in principle, opposed to an Iranian nuclear program because it started that program. And it started that program and continued to provide assistance till Iran reached 95% enrichment. What is the noise about? I can't believe it. In any case, let us still, for shaggy reasons, agree that the U.S. is truly opposed to Iran, Iran's nuclear program. It doesn't want Iran to develop a nuclear weapon. Fine, let us agree. Isn't it strange that the strongest opponent to Iran building a nuclear weapon was one of the first people they killed in these attacks? The Ayatollah is the one who issued a fatwa that it is a crime against Islam to produce a nuclear weapon. Iran has not produced a nuclear weapon today because the Ayatollah insists that Iran must never produce a nuclear weapon. And yet it's the one they killed. So what is happening? I don't understand. Something is missing in the equation. You understand? I simply don't understand. Something is missing in the equation. Now, there is something else which is completely baffling. They went into this war, and Donald Trump and his advisors said, oh, in 3 days, this war will be over. We'd have achieved our objective. Then they came back and said, it will last 1 week. Then they came back and said, 3 weeks. And then it kept, And then at one stage, they started telling us that it will take for as long as it takes. Infinity. No end game in sight. As of yesterday, some Pentagon officials were calculating that the war could end at the end of September. I mean, these people, they went into a war. They had no end game. There was no plan to end the war. They just went and dropped bombs. How reckless can they be? They just went and dropped bombs. Did not think about the consequences. Just drop bombs, kill children, kill women, and so on. Unbelievable. But this is what the United States of America is doing. My brother, at one stage, Donald Trump and his co-criminal, Netanyahu, were telling us that, look, they are waging this war against Iran because they want to liberate the Iranian people. Not so?
Yeah.
The Iranian people are suffering too much. They want to liberate them. First day, they killed more than 100 school children and teachers in a primary school. Today, the investigation is pointing to the U.S. Army. Killed more than 100 children, women, women, teachers, killed them. So is this how to liberate the Iranian people? On the streets of Tehran, innocent people, people who are not with the military, who are not with the police, who are not in government, are being slaughtered on a daily basis. This is Donald Trump's idea of liberating a people. I can't believe it. Mother, something else is happening which is most significant. A few days ago, I think 2 or 3 days ago, Donald Trump told the world that he has to personally play a role in the selection of the next leader of Iran. And the world is sitting down looking at this guy. He, Donald Trump, President of the United States of America, wants to appoint the next leader of Iran. And there's a clear betrayal of the imperial motive of this aggression against the Iranian people. Clear betrayal. And then he goes on to say he doesn't even know the difference between Venezuela and Iran. He goes on to say that the model which was used in Venezuela is the same model he intends to use in Iran. I mean, this guy is illiterate. He's illiterate. How the people of the United States of America came to elect this guy as their president is shocking. The U.S., which had Kennedy as president, the U.S., which had Abraham Lincoln as president, the U.S., which had Barack Obama as president, even Biden as president, now ends up electing Donald Trump as president. He's so confused, it's unbelievable. And then he comes up again and says that, oh, as for the trade Strait of Hormuz, the United States would open it and that the world should not worry. He does not understand. You know something? The Iranians, without shooting at the Americans, without shooting at any vessels, if they go and sink their own ships, a couple of them in the Strait of Hormuz, it's closed. So how can anybody guarantee free passage in the Strait of Hormuz? It's so easy to close. Even verbal threats that if you pass there, we'll fire, we'll close that strait. Donald Trump doesn't have the capacity to open the Strait of Hormuz. And I think it should be clear to us. And because he doesn't have the capacity to open the Strait of Hormuz, we are going to suffer the consequences. Already in Europe. Why? 2 days ago, there were long queues in European capitals for fuel, long queues. The price has not even hit $100 per barrel, but there are long queues there. And we are all sitting there and allowing him and the bunch of rascals around him to do as they please. Jay, something very significant. Spain. Spain is an ally of the United States of America. And Spain says, we would not allow you to use your military bases in our country to attack Iran. What is Donald Trump's response? Donald Trump, first of all, says that leaders of Spain are stupid. They don't think. They are crazy. So this is the head of state of America speaking to his ally. But the most important thing is that Donald Trump then says that whether you agree or not, we will come and use those bases and do what we like in your country. You can go to hell. Do you understand the full implications of this? The U.S. is ready to violate the sovereignty of an European country, which is its ally. Whether they agree or not, they will go and use their facilities and they would attack another country. And we are sitting down, we are looking on, and so on. Now, the contradictions are so many, it's unbelievable. This is Donald Trump, sitting as chairman of a so-called Board of Peace in Gaza. Look at his conduct. So what kind of peace is he bringing to Gaza? This is the chairman of the Board of Peace.
Conduct of war.
Chairman of the Board of Peace in Gaza. Unbelievable. But hold on. Which war has the United States of America won in history? This is a country that has never won a war, in spite of their so-called military superiority and so on. They went to Vietnam. What the Vietnamese gave them a beating. They had to run out of Vietnam. Vietnam beat them completely. They had to run. Why? They went to Iraq. They killed 2 million people. They killed 2 million people in Iraq. At the end of the day, they had to run out of Iraq. They went to Afghanistan, and Afghanistan is not Iran. They went to Afghanistan, an underdeveloped country, and so on. They hit them so badly that when they were leaving, they actually left their weapons, their helicopters, and so on behind. They were running out of Afghanistan. Why? They tried to invade Cuba. They were beaten, and Cuba is a small island. Small island. Only a few kilometers from Florida. They tried to invade Cuba. The Cubans beat them so badly, they ran. They left their equipment behind. They ran away. So, which war have they won? Which war have they won? But, again, that is not the end of story. They went to Iraq under the pretext that Saddam Hussein actually had weapons of mass destruction. What weapons? But they say weapons of mass destruction. Okay? They attacked Iraq. They killed 2 million people, only to find out that there were no weapons of mass destruction there. They had killed 2 million people already. Okay?
Yes.
For the last 10 years, and that's, I'm trying very, very careful to be modest. For the last 10 years, every year, Netanyahu comes to us, looks us in the face, and says that Iran is on the verge of producing a nuclear weapon. 10 years. So Iran has been on the verge of producing a nuclear weapon for 10 years. Oh my goodness. How is that possible? The irony is that Israel has a nuclear program, and Israel has produced a nuclear weapon. So if nobody should produce and hold a nuclear weapon, why is Israel having nuclear weapons? Why has Israel not been attacked? If the possession of nuclear weapons is sufficient grounds for launching military attacks and so on, why has Israel not been attacked? Because Israel has the nuclear weapon. So this whole thing doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense at all. Look, today, on the streets of New York, on the streets of Philadelphia, on the streets of Washington, American citizens cannot buy food. American citizens are eating from soup kitchens. American people have no access to accommodation. American people are dying out of curable diseases and so on. This is the state of America. Indeed, the last report that I read, national infrastructure in the United States of America is collapsing. Their bridges have become old. There's fear that these bridges will collapse. Their roads are old-fashioned. The railway system in New York is in shambles and so on. And yet, the President of the United States of America decides to commit billions of the taxpayers' money on killing Iranians for no justifiable reason. The people of America have to wake up. The people of America have to wake up. This is how their tax dollar is being expended on a useless war, which brings no benefit to them, which only fuels the ego of a power-drunk president. And the people of the United States need to wake up. The people of the United States need to wake up and change this situation because it does not benefit them in any way. Especially the Chicanos, the Latinos, the Africans, and so on. They are at the worst end of this bargain. Check the population of Africans in the United States in terms of proportions. See how many Africans are in prison, black Africans are in prison, as opposed to the Caucasians in the United States of America. The American stand-up comedian, Richard Pryor, I went to one of his shows in 1979, Richard Pryor's show. And Richard Pryor says, what? They say there's a lot of justice in the U.S. Huh? That is why, when you go to the prison, it is just us. This is Richard Pryor. They should listen to Martin Luther King. They should listen to Jesse Jackson. They should listen to Richard Pryor and so on, and take action to improve their own conditions. Because if they stay aloof as they do now, people like Trump, people like Marco Rubio and others would destroy their country for them. There's another aspect of this whole business, you know, that I intend to speak about. And my brother, it is very simple. Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and so on, are bearing the brunt of this senseless aggression against Iran. Why? Because they've allowed the United States of America to establish military bases and facilities in their country. So we, the people of Ghana, must understand clearly that if you allow others to come and use your territory to establish forward operating bases and military bases, when they go and engage in reckless action, some will touch you. You cannot escape from the consequences of their action. And that is why we must begin to think and plan a massive mobilization of our people against the U.S. military base in Ghana. That defense pact, which the Akufo-Addo government signed with the Biden administration, must be thrown out of the window. We must begin to take our destiny into our own hands. Only 3 nights ago, I was reading the final resolution of the Tricontinental meeting in Cuba, which involved African states, Asian states, and Latin American states, all of them. And they passed a resolution saying that none of our countries should allow any other foreign power to establish any military base on our soil. That's a charge we must follow to the end. The other day, I heard that the French military had come here to assist us to fight Galamsey. My goodness, where did that come from? Ghana. You need lessons from France to fight Galamsey. What a joke. Somebody should tell me why France should come to Ghana and teach us how to fight Galamsey. It's an excuse. Their target is the Sahel states. They want to gather intelligence to enable them to encircle the Sahel state, to subvert the patriotic revolutions in the Sahel states. And we, the citizens, have a responsibility to make sure that it never happens. We must speak out loudly. We must make the point that any government, and I mean any government, whether it's a CPP government, an NDC government, or an MPP government, which allows the establishment of military bases on our soil, cannot get our mandate. It's an important issue for us. Especially when they go and sign such reckless agreements with states, for example, that we in Pan-African television, when we use the national frequency, we have to pay. But when American soldiers come to Ghana, that frequency is available to them for free. Somebody should tell me the justification for this. When they go and sign an agreement which says that when American soldiers are coming into Ghana, they don't need visas. They don't even need to carry their passports. All they need to show at the entry point is their U.S. Army card. How is it justifiable? When they go and sign an agreement who says that when American soldiers come and carry out operations in Ghana, and Ghanaian property is destroyed, we cannot go to court. When they go and sign an agreement which says that when American soldiers come to Ghana and operate, and they kill Ghanaians, we cannot go to court. When they go and sign an agreement which says that the president of Ghana, when the U.S. is carrying out an operation from Ghana, the land on which they are carrying out the operation, the president of Ghana cannot set foot there. He's banned from setting foot there. How does this agreement make sense to anybody? Why? You think that Ghana doesn't have interest in the U.S.? We have interest in the U.S. At least we have many citizens in the U.S. Will Ghana be allowed to establish a base in the United States of America? And if we will not be allowed to establish a base in the United States of America, why are we allowing them to establish a base in our country? So look, we have to wake up. Our silence has consequences. Our silence has consequences. And we should refuse to be silent in matters that affect us and affect our destiny. You will be surprised, Jay. Many of our leaders, parliamentarians, ministers and so on, when these issues arise, they don't talk. You know why they don't talk? Because they are afraid that if they talk, they will not get visas to visit the U.S. That's the only reason. Visa to U.S. So they keep quiet. And when they are compelled to talk, they talk such nonsense you can't believe that any people who have gone to school, who have a little sense of history and dignity, will talk that way. In any case, I think it is time to remind ourselves that Iran is not Afghanistan. Iran is not Venezuela. This is a country of 80 million people.
Almost 90.
They have never been conquered. Throughout history, they have never been conquered. The U.S. armed Saddam Hussein to attack them. He failed. He couldn't win. They have never been conquered. It's a country of proud people, patriots. It's a country of people who are determined that they will not submit to the hegemony of any other power, anytime, any day, anywhere. And we should understand that very, very clearly. We should understand that this war is between two categories of people. One category of people who actually want to die so they can go to heaven and enjoy paradise. And another category of people who want to live at any cost so that they can eat hamburgers. This is the distinction. You understand? Yes. I mean, when I hear some of these Western military analysts, I laugh. 3 days ago, they were saying that the intensity of the Iranian fire has slowed down. So it means that the U.S. is winning. What crap analysis is that? If you were an Iranian general, would you throw all you have now when we are being told that this war could last up until September? And this whole bluff about the power of the U.S. and so on, my friend, U.S., they say it's all powerful. It is a paper tiger. You know why it's a paper tiger? After 3 days of war, they started complaining that their munitions are finished. 3 days of war with Iran, not with China, not with Russia. They are complaining that, hey, man, we have to take care. The ammunition is getting finished.
Not even North Korea.
Yes. Now, they are planning to go and take their defense weapons and so on from Asia to bring it to the Middle East because they are running short. They don't know that when they take them from Asia, that place also becomes vulnerable. Look, what is happening is an affront, first and foremost, to U.S. law. Because under U.S. law, no president has the power to declare war without the approval of Congress. Trump and his friends think that they are being smart. So they say that this is not a war. Can you believe it? They say that this is not a war. This is a military operation. They are learning from Putin. Because if they call it a war, they will be in breach of U.S. law, of internal domestic law of the United States of America. But whether they call it a war or whatever, we know that this is a full-scale war. They've moved the heaviest weapons to the region. If this is not a war, what is a war? It's a war. And because it's a war, they have breached internal U.S. laws. But they're also breaching international law. Because under international law, you cannot wage this war against another country without the approval of the UN Security Council. And the UN Security Council has not sanctioned this war. So this war is an illegality on all fours. Complete illegal and justified war. And we must speak out. All of us. Every one of us. Well, you think that I'm unmindful of the consequences of speaking out? I am. As I'm speaking, I cannot forget that they killed Patrice Lumumba for saying things which were milder than what I'm saying today. They killed Patrice Lumumba. They dissolved his body in acid. I know that. I know that they killed Chris Hani. I know that they killed Salvador Allende. I know they've killed so many of our leaders since the time of the transatlantic slave trade. But, my dear friend, my countryman and woman, if we stop talking, we will be slaves. If we talk, a few of us may be framed up, a few of us may be imprisoned, a few of us may even be killed. But then, we would have hope that one day we would achieve liberty. That one day, our grandchildren will live as free men and women. That one day, we'll be able to take over our resources and manage these resources in our interest. Do not be afraid to speak out. Do not be afraid to stand against the bully. Do not be afraid to mobilize so that we can build a new world in which the color of your skin does not determine your destiny. This is a charge we must fulfill. And we have to do that with courage, with determination and conviction. We will win against the forces of imperialism.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Pratt, for your submission. We've been joined in the studio by Mr. Michael Niyabo Anand, who is a member of the National Democratic Congress Communications Team. Mr. Anand, your take on the U.S., Israel, and Iran conflict.
Greetings to open-analyst here and your viewers. But I must say, after Autocracy's submission on this, there is really not much to say. But to look at this issue from a certain angle. Well, the dollar has been battling other currencies on the dollar index for some time now. It was doing around 98, 95, 96. And then all of a sudden, since this past 1 week, he's doing so well. Again, the reasons why oil all of a sudden is going up, I think we all know it is based on this war. It is not going to benefit Russia because Russia has been closed out of the European market, which used to be its main market. And then here is the US, whose WTI all of a sudden again has shot up. The Texas index for oil and all that has shot up. And then we have these countries who are allies of the US, and the US have found their bases in there. military bases in there, whose economy thrives on the fact that they have the protection from the US and therefore there is security. We can talk of Dubai, we can talk of Qatar, and what have you. All of a sudden, their tourism is plummeting, is coming down. Everything is going haywire for them economically, because they assume protection that they had, all of a sudden is gone. Iran is able to hit them at will. And I must say that Iran has been mostly responsible in this war, that they had targeted assets of the US. If there have been any fallout, they are very minute. And even that, they are saying that, well, the hotels we hit, you have your people in there. That is where they are lodging. And therefore, they are right to hit those hotels. Unless you can tell us that, well, there are no US citizens in those hotels. The ports they are hitting, these are ports that can be used against them. Again, their intentions were clear. This is not just a battle on the battlefield that is being engaged in. It is an economic war as well. And that is why they would have also closed the Strait of Hormuz. So, for me, I ask myself, if you consider yourself an ally of the US, and everything is against you, from economics to security is against you, then what is the sense in becoming an ally of the US? It makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. Again, the foundation of this war, nuclear. Are there not other countries who clearly claims that they have nuclear weapons and warheads, and they even actually conduct tests and all that? Have the US found it necessary to attack them? The North Koreans openly have said, we have it. We are developing more weapons to that effect. So when we talk of imminent threats, who are those? They have shown that they have the capacity and capability to fire a weapon from North Korea all the way to Florida. Why are we not attacking them? Because it will not make any economic sense and there will be no benefit to it. The US told us all that they have hammered Iran and have destroyed their uranium enrichment program, that it will take them years to have recovered to the position they were before. That is what they told us in their so-called 12 days war or so. Nowhere to verify. Iran did not respond in the manner they are responding today. That war was cut short. There was talks going on. So, what changed? Has Iran developed the capacity to quickly develop uranium to a level that is threatening to the world? I just don't understand it. That you said, Ishfan, I have destroyed whatever they are doing there. Here, I have destroyed whatever they are doing there. Are they saying they have any evidence? And have any evidence been brought to us? Because that takes our minds to other nations that they have attacked with the excuse of them having weapons of mass destruction. They attack Iraq under that same pretext, killed the president of Iraq, claim they have dismantled, and up to date, Iraq cannot be called a safe state. You have Iraq being taken by almost every interest. The US have an interest at part, Iran has part, others. I mean, you have destroyed totally that country. Again, Israel and Netanyahu. This man always have stories. And it sounds to me clearly that he has something on Trump. That it's so incriminating that Trump cannot say no to his nonsense. And this one man has been allowed to destabilize the entire region under the cover of Christianity, which is a lie, absolute lie. But you see, we all can't say it because some of us still believe that what we see there as Israel is the biblical Israel. And this is Christians under attack from Muslims and what have you. Again, it is nonsense. It is nonsense that nobody in this world can hold that small country to check. That small country called Israel to check. And they can act as and when they deem fit. Again, most of the international trades are going down, but Israel indexes are going up. So somehow, somewhat, it is benefiting them. It is in their interest to do what they are doing. But is it in the interest of the rest of the world to suffer this baseless war? Because whether we like it or not, with time, we will all be affected. We will all buy fuel at a certain price we shouldn't have been buying it for. And therefore, I think that we must relook at this UN thing again. Is it really necessary? If others can flout the international laws at will, and others are subjected to it. Look at the number of people killed in Iraq. And, well, although we cannot verify the reports, I am not really hearing about the military people dying. What we are hearing about is civilians, children, women, have been the target of this war. But, well, when a president appoints a minister or a secretary of war, and within some few days in war, will go to their biggest manufacturers of weapons and tell them that you need to spark it up. You need to produce more weapons. Even in 3 days, you need to give us what we need. It means they weren't prepared for the war. They went into this war not prepared. They went into this war underrating Iran. And when Iran said, I have not even fired my current modern weapons, what I am giving you is the old stock, because I need to clear my old stock, then we are in for a long haul. And that is where the rest of the world must speak up. Israel and US cannot just take the rest of the world for a joke. Because compared to what is happening with Russia and Ukraine, what has the US not said about that war? How did the Europeans stood against this war? We are not seeing their hands strongly against what is going on. Assuming it is similar. It was not a war that just started. It was a war that consistently for many years, Russia complained that don't get to my doorsteps. Don't bring NATO to my doorsteps. We have an agreement. This is a war Trump went to bed. I don't know which tea he drank, got up, and they felt, let's go and hit these guys. And like Uncle Kwesi said, the man, the dove in Iran, politics, who has always stood against going nuclear, was the first one they hit, was the first to be killed. And people must understand the Shia Islam well. That to become a scholar, somebody people will follow and read your works and all that, you would need to develop an opinion. And this is a man whose opinion consistently developed over the years was not to go nuclear. But that does not mean that looking at the demography of Iran and their issues with water, they can't build hydro like we have. They can use generators that are more expensive to produce electricity. And so if they have uranium, certainly it is fair to look at producing energy with that. So, is it the use of uranium the reason why they are being attacked? Or is it an evidence that they have or they are on a program developing it for the purposes of a warhead? That cannot be ascertained by anybody. This war started, and if there is some iota of truth in everything the US have said as justification to go into this war, clearly, I think we should be seeing signs of it. At least they should put a little in one of the warheads before they fired it to Israel, because they are able to hit Israel at will. Again, the issue about Lebanon, and I think that is another part of it that has been somehow blocked from discussion. Look, after the Hezbollah-Israeli war recently, there were agreements. Israel was not supposed to occupy Lebanon, southern Lebanon. It is Israel that has violated everything in that agreement and have remained in southern Lebanon. Virtually, they are controlling part of southern Lebanon. And when the people see an opportunity to fight you because you are weak, people are saying, oh, why is Hezbollah getting involved? They have every right to get involved because tactically, they are still at war. The reasons an agreement for this ceasefire has not been respected by the Israelis. Again. So Israel should be called out for what it is. They have become lawless. Absolute lawless. And no one can check them. They have the US in their pockets. And it's as if the US is the UN. And whatever they say, that is what stands. Everybody else is a slave. That cannot be possible in this modern world. And for me, I will predict that they will lose this war again, as usual. But this war, unlike the others they have gotten involved, that did not affect them economically. This war will drag the US back 50 years, if they care to know. They will be shut out of the economic bracket. By the time they are done with this war. And also, it will not be their choosing again when and where this war will be ended. It will not be their choosing again. They have lost that. And we will encourage the Iranians to be strong, to stay together, and to fight this war. I don't know what the US have that everybody is afraid to tell it to his face. That they are wrong. And they are being bullish. And that cannot be accepted any longer. After they were hit, they claim Russia is providing information to the Iranians. Has the US not given weapons to Ukraine? So what are they complaining about? The US has become like spoiled children. It must be them and no other person. And that cannot be a modern world. We are not in the 1940s again. And they must be made to understand that. News coming in that they have hit UNIFIL in Lebanon. We sat here thinking that the war is about Iran and the US. But families in Ghana are going to feel the brunt for it. So we must all speak up and speak against the US and Israel for what they are doing. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let me take some few of our messages, then we move to the next topic. This one says, Justice, with what is happening currently in the world, my focus is on Ghana. I don't know what deeper things our leaders know that keep them sober and at certain level to the desires of colonial dictators. The clear signs on the wall are self-development, that is, we develop our own system of transport that can be synchronized to the world system as far as we want. Develop our own telecommunication systems and networks and develop our own tools to aid our daily lives and our armed forces. All right, thank you so much for your message. This one says, good morning, Justice. This is from Kuchu Meshazongo. Please, one thing we must understand is Israel and MPP have the same mentality. They are always destroyers because MPP are now happy with what's going on in Iran. That will affect our economy, but God is in control, inshallah. God of Ghana will show JM the way out, regards to all their wishes. All right, thank you so much for your message. This one says, good morning. This is Mustafa of Ofanko. Listening to the panelist and the last statement of Uncle Kwesi, we know very clearly that the US can't win any war, but just to cause disruption in the global economy for their gains. But it's time Africans start to develop our intracontinental trade, start building our own technologies, and most importantly, building our self-dependent military capabilities and might. Thank you for that message. This one says, good morning. I salute my hero, Uncle Kwesi Pratt. If the reason for attacking Iran is deterrence of nuclear weapons, why does the US not attack North Korea? Joe in Tardy sent in that one. Joe, thank you so much for your message. This one says, kindly tell Uncle Pratt that there's nothing we can do on our own. Even in football, the white man comes to teach us how much more Galamsey fight. All right, thank you so much. He didn't add his name actually. Kindly let us know your name. Thank you for your message. This one also says, and Africans should understand what evil the Israelis actually are like. People who claim to be chosen and have proof of genocide in their holy book. Their God is their God telling them to kill every single person in the nation? Not even animals must be left. And we Africans worship and call upon the Israeli God. Rex from Who sent in that one. Rex, thank you so much for your message. The US is behaving just like the MPP in Ghana. They think they are superior to everyone in Ghana. They think they are superhuman beings. Okay, all right, thank you so much for your message. This one says, I have noticed that the US in 3 of the wars that they have started with Islamic nations, namely Afghanistan, Iraq, and Iran, they always waited till Ramadan when people are fasting to attack them. Cowards. Bilal from Kwashima sent in that one. He also says, President Dankwa Akufo-Addo has put Ghana in harm's way by allowing the USA to set up a military base here. I'm saying this because of what is going on in the Middle East right now. Any country hosting USA base is a far game. All right, thank you so much for that message. This one says, Justice, good morning to you. For me, Uncle Kwesi Pratt is like a prophet. I quite remember some time ago, he kicked against Americans having a base here in Ghana. Ghanaians almost tore him into pieces. Just imagine what's happening now in the various states where American military bases are from Alhaji Lawal in Asamankese. Thank you so much, Alhaji, for your message. This one says, good morning, Justice. My question is simple. Who made Trump the IGP of the world and Netanyahu his deputy? And instead of that Zionist embassy in Ghana telling us a story, at least he is rather telling us to condemn Iran. Uncle Pratt, Trump is not just an illiterate, as you said, just a dump. Trump. BB sent in this one from Musuku. Thank you so much for your message. I'd love to take a few on our Facebook page, and then I come back to the guest. This one says, Uncle Pratt, don't worry, they will not touch you. Sopoli sent in that one. Do we even have parliamentarians in this country? They are all jokers. Zachariah sent in that one. This one says, it was Akufo-Addo's administration that signed that agreement with the US government to establish a base in Ghana. Uncle Pratt, I believe there is American military base in Japan and Taiwan. This one also says, Uncle Pratt, is today, you know Ghana is it today that you know that Ghana is a concert country? Mr. Pratt is giving us the current state of America. This one also says that they try it in Afghanistan but regret after going there. And this one says the US cannot go to war without the assistance of other countries. I'll come back to the messages later, but I'll quickly move on to the 69th anniversary of the country. And Mujiv, I'll start with you again on that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. But we celebrated our 69th independence march yesterday. We are still in the mood. Today is Saturday, enjoying. So we thank God. I really was happy how things were organized, especially in the capital city of the country. According to sources and what the president said, is trying to cut costs by not doing it as usual, as what we used to do at Independence Square. So I think this time it was happened at the seat of government, Jubilee House.
Yes.
Yeah, just in a very small ceremonial. I don't know, maybe other regions what happened in the districts, but at least to match it as cutting costs, and maybe if the others will go into other productive areas to help the economy and the people of Ghana, why not? I am for it, and that is good. But getting into the details of our life as an independent sovereign state 69 years downwards, what are the prospects, what are the achievements, and what are the shortfalls? I think we need to take stocks of this and see where we fell short and then how we have to organize ourselves and move on. It is very important and very critical to mention some of our where we fall and we are not doing that much 69 years down the line. I think that we still have some schools that are still grappling with chairs. Students are still studying under trees. It is something that we need to work on and get it behind, because it tells us how our projections and planning is very, very bad. So even if you take the educational sector, as I'm saying, for a period of 1 year, so you can project that, oh, enrolled in our basic schools, primary, across the country, this is the expected number we are expecting, so that we should be making arrangement to match up the numbers that will be coming. So you ask yourself, why are some of these things? Because we don't plan, because we don't project, we don't anticipate. So when the numbers come, we are overwhelmed. So we now, the situation is there, and now we are now just running around to get the program. So we now have to improve on our educational sector, especially infrastructure. So let's take our health sector as a nation. Is it the best of shape? We still don't fly people outside this country to get simple treatment that we have. Sometimes we have even the personnel, but the machines are not there to take care of such ailments and the situation, the cost involved. So we have to look at it. And for other aspects, we can say, oh, maybe after some times now, we are able to accept as a nation that this is the direction we have to go on our democratic front. 4 years, you are supposed to go to the people to ask for the renewal of your mandate. If they do, fine. If they don't do, you walk away, and that one, others we have achieved. But there are certain critical areas that we need to do much as a country. We still have to work on our road network across the country. I always maintain, and just as you know me, I will always repeat it, from Accra to Kumasi, from Accra to Accra. We know what is happening, but it's been 69 years down the line. We still economic road that is bringing all our resources into the capital city, but still a single lane. As a people, Uncle Philip London, you are our senior, something has to be done. It is such a long time. What are we doing to our people? What are we doing? Look at the number of carnages that we have experienced in the Accra-Kumasi highway. 69 years. In fact, when you are driving on the Tema motorway, it is totally unbelievable. It tells you the quality, and it's different from the normal asphalt overlay. But I think that whichever way it is, at least we should be able to have 4 or 6 years. 6 years. Those going, you go straight. Those coming, you come straight. You don't collide. The collusion, 69 years still, we are still experiencing collusion on our major highway. It's unacceptable. And it's a scar on us as a people of Ghana. We need to do something about it. Justice. Road network has to improve. You go to the hinterland, feed the roads. People produce, but because of poor nature of roads to bring the food to the market centers is a problem. And you get them perish in the farm. We need to do something. It has to be done. That is the road sector. So you take the agriculture sector. Are we producing enough as a people to feed ourselves and still export? Irrigation is poor. Anyway, I don't want to go into details of it, but at least by now, those coming from school, it should be accessible to the fact that today, if I want to go into agriculture, the bottleneck should not be too much for me to get into agriculture. Commercial, not subsistence farming, the use of hoe and this thing. It is to use the machines, the caterpillars, the combined harvester to produce 20 acres, 50 acres, and still get enough inputs to be able to do it. So every now and then we talk slogans. I listened to the President Sona address, and he emphasizes on this mechanization centers. 1 year in his office down the line, it is now that you are still planning to import the tractors and others. So time is not on our side. So we have not done much on our critical sectors: education, roads, agriculture, health. We have not done much as a people. We need to. That is why I have started by saying that, do we really take stocks year after year, especially when we are celebrating our independence? But you can link this to our National Development Plan, which we have not been able to succeed that much. And I think that as a history students, after Kwame Nkrumah, I think the rest we are just doing going back and forth. We have not achieved that much. And as people will say, 9 years you can mention this major things. Imagine another group of people 9 years have also done that. You could have imagined where this country will be. But my brother, you don't have a plan. And when you don't have a plan, you can't plan, and you will plan to fail. Even if you have it on paper and you shelve it and you don't put it on practicals, you will not succeed. So that is the future of this country, and something needs to be done. But in my conclusion, I always maintain that I don't want coups, I want democracy. But this our model of democracy. Justice will not give us the development that we want as a people. 4 years in, 4 years out. I am not a complete believer. I think we have to find another model. It is very, very important. But this model sincerely was imposed on us by the... there's no time. You just came to government. Now 1 year, you are in 2 years now. Where is the time to develop? Where is the time to even implement some of the ideas? I hope you are getting the argument. So I think that looking at the time, we can extend it, the period, just like what the Constitutional Review Committee is recommending. Even the 5 years for me, I think is still too short a time. But let's believe it. But if we look at the bureaucratic, the procedures, and how it is, link it to our development, where we want to be as against that. When a new president comes or a new government comes, some of the things, you could see that in a period, 4 years is not enough. I think Kufuor said it, President Kufuor said it when he was leaving. So, but I think that something has to be done. At the end of the day, whatever we are putting in, it is to get the development for our people, to get our people life improved. Qualitative improvement in the living conditions of our people should be the principles of all leaders that has come and that are still aspiring to come. Other than that, what is the business? And you can achieve that when you don't plan. And that plan has to materialize and link all these things. You have a very good health sector, a very good agriculture sector. This is not the time we should be talking of mechanization centers. This thing should have existed long ago. But even young as some of us are, when we're growing, I don't know whether it's at Champon time or we have this big combined harvesters and big tractors. We saw it at those days. Is it the party chairman or the big guys in town, their houses? Thanks for the call. That was Luman time. And we saw that those were the days that I think that you were producing enough and were exporting. So what has changed? And that today we can achieve in that direction. We have to be importing plenty of rice to this country. Uncle Philip, sometimes if you are there to say we are cursed. Even look at recently this Commander Sugar Factory. What has come up about it? What has happened? Senior, what has happened? Uncle Kosipra, let me borrow. Even common toothpaste. 69 years. Sometimes we have to import toothpaste into this country. Yeah, we need to change, my brother.
All right, thank you so much, Mujib, for your submission. Mr. Anand, let me come to you.
Yes. Well, yesterday was the day we won our freedom as a country to have self-governance. And I think that it was a day to remember the pillars on which this nation was built, and also those that took the fall for us as a nation to enjoy this freedom we have enjoyed for 69 years. I observed the celebration. It was widely observed. I think for the first time, citizens took it upon themselves, and in fact, some part of Accra was blocked. In the afternoon, you couldn't even pass in front of the Kwame Nkrumah Museum. At the same time, I think that the celebration was widely observed more as wearing of Ghanaian jerseys. And we did nothing to remember those who really took a fall. And I mean by that, they died for this country to have its freedom from all the soldiers that died after the Second World War, all the way to gaining independence, those who stood up for, and I mean, one person who stands out tall is Kwame Nkrumah. I did not see him being a center stage of this celebration. It was more of Black Star jerseys or Ghanaian jerseys or wearing the colors and all, which was good. It is a rallying point, but I think we should give meaning to the celebration, and we stand a risk of letting the younger ones forget how we got here. That should be that shouldn't be forgotten. It's always need to come back to us, because what that really means to the generations like us and those coming after us and all that is that there were principles, there were certain core principles on which this freedom was won for us, and what the forefathers envisaged Ghana to be today. And that is where what my senior brother was saying comes into being, that look, 69 years, what have we achieved? We must understand the pillars that were put in, how the railways were built to transport, help in our transportation, and how we have destroyed it, that in fact today the rail network is almost zero. It is how we understood then that air transport is necessary, the establishment of AVGO and all that. And today, it is also down to zero. We do not partake or participate in that sector. How we thought it wise then to put up the Black Star Line, the shipping side or the sea transport, and today it is zero. How we strategically place factories close to our farms so that the produce in our farms will feed these factories for self-sustainability and reliance. And today, it is a pale shadow of itself. That are the things that we must focus on. This is what we must give account of, that what was bequeathed to us, how have we handled it, and how well are we doing today? Have we derailed from the plans of our forefathers, or we are on that course? I mean, clearly, I think the celebration was widely observed also because people felt some sense of freedom, some sense of a responsible government, some sense of a progress leading to somewhere better than what we had seen in the past 8 years, where it was left to the state alone and the political machinery to celebrate. Today we saw almost everybody getting involved and celebrating the 69th birthday of this country. We must also not forget our position in Africa, that we were a leading tool for which many countries looked on us to progress and actually to take up arms and fight for freedom. Have we maintained, or are we maintaining that leadership role in Africa, or we have left it off? I think gradually I see signs of that coming back, but we must be intentional about it and make sure that we are leading it in the way that will benefit all of us on this African continent. Again, with regards to our democracy and where we are, I just cannot imagine that the previous government had maybe 6 years a term to be in power based on the performance we saw. This democracy, however young, it has been the longest in our history that it has been maintained since 92. We've been able to maintain it till date. I assume that we do not have a reason to call for a change in the democracy we are practicing today and in the manner in which we are practicing it. I think we should hasten slowly advocating for a change. I strongly disagree to that. We should maintain it until we are firm and our structures are so strong that it will withstand any shock in the future. We shouldn't take that road of saying that we are going to extend one term to 6 years, one term to 5 years. I think we should remain at the 4 years. We just need to be responsible and have continuation. And if this government is doing well and I take over and I can continue in that same regard, I then assume that gradually we would get there. If others have done it and they are doing well with it, I do not see why we should rush into taking decisions that may affect us badly in future. I just couldn't imagine that if this dispensation we are in have been changed and said that, well, a certain president will have more years to be on the throne, to be at the presidency, and what we were going through and where we are today and how things are being corrected in the system. It has taken few years to do that, but I think that we are not there yet, and so we should hasten slowly with regards to that. Then the issue of accountability, that a generation must account to us all, that look, we took over and this is how far we have taken Ghana. I think it should be something that we should observe. And it is something that must be participated in at all levels, in our educational systems and all that. If we have to build that responsibleness in our people, then we must realize that at all point we will need to account for how far we have brought this country. And that should be a corporate thing, because it has not been just one side of our political divide that has handled the affairs of this country. Things have changed over the years, but we should mark our anniversary, our National Day of Freedom and Independence, as a day of also accountability, where we would need to account holistically to ourselves and to generations coming after us, that this is where we took it and this is how far we have brought it to. And I think that it will be enough records for future generation to be guided by it, and also to know that there would be certainly a day you would have to account for it. I think on the general, it has been good. The celebration were kept small, slim, and nice. And I think that all these expenditures that we used to spend and all that, well, people can hold brief for that. But I think that it makes no sense. We should find other ways of celebrating it and giving true meaning to it for what it really is meant for. And then gradually we will get there. We will not get there by chance. We will get there by a program that can succeed, by dedication and love for this country. That is one thing we should grow, that generations coming up will have a certain love for this country and to protect this country going forward against all these wolves running around and influences that comes through in our political class and all that, that we are not able to stand for Ghana, but we are able to stand for the benefit of other nations. Rather, we should put that nationalistic instinct in every Ghanaian, and it should be part of our celebration. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Anand, for your submission. Uncle Phil.
Well, we thank the Almighty God that we've marked our 69th independence anniversary. Many countries have marked 69 years, but many of those countries too had all kinds of problems in the 69 years that they did. We had our own peculiar problems. We have learned from our problems, and like in anybody's life, as you progress, you learn from the problems you've had and build on it for the future. So it's normal. I think that I want to ask Pan-African Television that, you know, we dedicate a time to discuss our independence progression from independence to now, devoid of petty partisanship and petty politicking. So we focus on the real issues about Ghana. I think it's important for us to be able to do that. And I know Pan-African Television, under the leadership of Comrade Chrissy Pratt, can assemble people, and we can discuss this matter. We have moved from Kwame Nkrumah's time to today. After Kwame Nkrumah, there was the propaganda against him and all that. Today, a lot of people who condemned him today say, oh, the man was good. Buzier came, he had his own challenges. There were those of it people appreciated, there were those people didn't. Achampong came. Today, there are many who see him as the unsung hero in our nation building. Rawlings came, 79. That was one side. Liban came, 20 how many months? I can't remember. Just over 2 years. What Liban did in that time. Jerry Rawlings came back. How many years? Subsequently, you've had the other changes up to now. So yes, our road after independence has not been smooth. The road has not been straight, but we are here. And we thank God. We must remember that there were times when Ghana was not like this. There have been times when Ghana was far better than how it is today. Far better. People have forgotten, yes. There were references to some of the things that have happened, our railways and all that, yes. We had railways that were functioning. We allowed it to collapse. That's why I'm saying that we should have time and discuss these things in detail so that we all sit down and appreciate where we went wrong. And where, when we were going wrong, we were busy jubilating, not knowing that we're going down the wrong way. We must dispassionately discuss these matters. Then we can honestly look at each other and talk about issues. But too often, when we are talking about matters, then the partisanship comes in and it's reduced to pettiness. There's no space for that in the discussion of our history. I mean, after 69 years, look at Ghanaians across the world. Ghanaians are holding the highest positions all over the world. Kofi Annan was from Ghana. In all sectors, Ghanaians are pioneers. So why is it that when we are running our own country, we have problems? For me, part of our problem, especially in the recent years, is the nature of our politics. The nature of our politics. A government comes. A moment that government comes, they sweep away so many people, they sack everybody. And go and bring in all kinds of people. Simply because they are with that government. And in the process, there is a mess. Mess. We take 2 steps back before we start taking 1 step forward. So the kind of progress we could have made as a country, we are moving too slow. Too slow. Wojib was talking about agriculture. I mean, look at what we're going to... From we were exporting almost everything from Ghana. People don't remember that we were once producing cotton and feeding our textile industries in Ghana. I mean, we've just gone back. We are talking about combined harvesters and tractors. We had factories assembling tractors in Nsawam. And Nsawam is a place that's dear to my heart. Universal tractors were assembled in Nsawam. Every poor farmer could buy one. We were doing proper commercial farming. Poor farmers, people are doing farming. We were producing. You know? And let me take time to greet the chief of Nsawam. he and his elders. And I want to encourage him to ensure that none of his elders become a stumbling block to development in the Sahum. And Sahum had tractor assembly plants. Tractor assembly plants. A lot of our Ghana, we've dropped down. We have to build up again. We have to build up. You know? So, at Independence Day celebration, it should not just be the fanfare. It must be for us to sit down and reconsider the way we are going about our things. We must have a situation where people are properly accountable. If you are made the chief executive of a state enterprise, you don't sit there and just enjoy your tenure, and at the end of the day, you pack up and go home and somebody else comes and takes over. No way. When you were taking over, what was your market share? What was your turnover levels? You must account on an annual basis. We must build these things into our governance practice. That is how we build the independence of our country. If we have a situation where people just come after every certain political cycle, whether it's 4 years or 5 years or 6 years, the same thing will happen if we don't change it. 4 years is short, yes. It is true. We would have been better off if we had, a little bit more time, beyond 4 years. But if the governance practice that we go through is not helpful, it could be 10 years, we won't get anywhere. I mean, why? Every country in the world progresses. Just as in your own life, you must ensure that at least what you're doing today, next year by now, you should be able to do it a bit better. You should be able to see a change, a progress. You know, I want to commend the Ministry of Interior for the new recruitment process that they have instituted. I want to commend them. It's a recruitment process that brings about recruitment based on merit. Merit. The level of influence is so reduced. It's a merit-based system. We should bring meritocracy into our governance system. Proper meritocracy. People shouldn't be appointed simply because they were activists. And no. Yes, people must support their parties. People must stand for principle. But let us get people to do the work. And when they are working, they should be seen to be doing the work. And when they are working and they're not doing the work, we should point out to them that they're not doing the work. Because right now what is happening is that too many people, when they are given position, all they are interested in is the optics. Oh, today they are doing some exercise, they are doing something here, then they are on TV, they are on radio, and in the newspapers. After they do that, and then they sit back and everything deteriorates. No! A man like that, sack him. If you had a military chief executive who in his earlier days is able to do something to show that he's putting certain things in order, after that, everything just deteriorates. And he's still in office. He couldn't put a system in place that would keep it sustainable. Then we're not progressing. Come the next independence, they will have the same problems. No, we must progress. And we must have people working to ensure progress. Those countries that develop, look, when you travel around the world, those cities that are clean and neat and they have systems working, they don't have National Sanitation Day. National Sanitation Day is an ongoing process. Speech and National Sanitation Day, then they. What are you 69 years? It's a joke. It is a joke, if President Mahama says he's resetting, it's a good idea. I support it. We in the United Party, we have a great transformation plan. We've thought through a lot of these things. We've thought them through. We must change these things. Otherwise, we will not progress. We will not progress. So President Mahama, he has a chance. He has the opportunity. He's in power. He should get us to review the way we go about things. Change it for the better. And in changing things, we are looking at the country, not at our parties. You know? So these are the things. I mean, for example, Ujibi also spoke about roads. Yes, there are good things going on. Roads are being built. I've always complained about the road to Cape Coast. The road is being worked on. But there's a problem. There are too many curves in that road. Too many curves. Too many curves. And now that the road is being expanded, you know what's happening? They are expanding, so the curve is still the same curvature. They just added another lane to the curvature. Where in the world do you see curves? Modern day? Yes, I'm happy with the new expressway that is being developed to open up the country towards the north. It's fantastic. But some of our old roads too, they should look at it again. It is these things that make us progress. Then when we celebrate another year of independence, then as a people, we should feel proud. But if we're doing the same things every time, then come the next independence, what will be the point? What will be the point? If we can't sit down and examine things and reassess what we're doing, no, it's wrong. It's wrong. And then we should put the petty politicking aside. Petty politicking aside. Always in a hurry, either to find fault to one party or no. That is backward. It's backward. Let us identify what is right, support what is right. What is wrong, irrespective of which party. That way, everybody will sit up. You know, and then the country will make progress. We'll move forward. And when you build that into the system, when somebody comes and he's given a job, he himself knows that if he doesn't deliver, he will be fired. But this one gets a job and he feels, oh, he got a job because in his constituency, he was the one shouting all the time. So therefore, he's safe in his position. And he's making a mess of the job. Then everybody's watching. How? It's wrong. It's wrong. So, 69, yes. We've made progress. We thank God. But we should know that even when we're half of 69, there were things in Ghana we were doing far better than we are doing today. Far better. So we must set up. We were doing, our agriculture was far more advanced than it is today. We had industries working. You spoke about Commander. Why did Commander collapse? What happened? You know? Some of it was a consequence of some of the economic policies that were in place at the time. You know, some of the economic policies that are being done as a matter of course, previous governments, when they attempted, it was political suicide. But today we've come to accept that certain prices have to float and find their level. You know, so when it comes to independence, from where I sit, this is how we should look at it. And then use it to advise ourselves. That for me is more important. The celebration is symbolic and is good. I was happy to see His Excellency the President, John Dramani Mahama, welcoming the two former presidents, General Gunguvo, Nana Akufo-Addo, and the goodwill that was demonstrated. It was nice. Some people were trying to cause trouble by trying to show how President Akufo-Addo then treated former President Mahama then at the previous. But that's a fact of life. But President Mahama has shown that, look, me, I don't bear that type of issue. You know? And you see, when it comes to independence, you see, you are moving forward. You are looking, you know. So when it comes to Independence Day, that's how I want us to see and look at things. You know, that way, next year, when it's 70, and next year I don't expect to see our independence celebration at the forecourt of Jubilee House. Because as a country, when we are 70, no matter our problems, we must show the world that yes, we're not going to waste money. We don't expect to be extravagance or wastage. but we expect a decent celebration. There's nothing wrong with what is done. They're trying to save some money and all that. It's admirable and respectable, and we commend them for it. But 70 is a milestone. So I expect that we'll have more like what we used to do. Because, yes, this time we had one visiting prime minister. Next year, we are likely to have more. Because many countries in Africa associate themselves with the independence struggle of Ghana. And they will come to celebrate with us. And we must be ready for them. You see? So when it comes to independence, so far as I'm concerned, that's how I see it. But I want to end by making my point again. I want to urge Pan-African TV. Let us take time to discuss this matter. You see, because I believe that when we discuss it, we will also give a lot of our people the opportunity to remember a lot that has passed, and for those who don't know, to get to know, so that it helps us all in our movement forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Uncle Phil, for your submission. Mr. Pratt.
Well, 69 years ago, we, the people of Ghana, through our leader, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, made a solemn proclamation. And that was simply that the independence of Ghana was meaningless unless it was linked to the total liberation of Africa. One may ask, liberation from what? Liberation from the imposition which did not allow us to own our resources and which prevented us from exploiting these resources for our own benefit, essentially. Liberation from the kind of situation which enabled the forces of imperialism to decide how the world is shaped and how the peoples of the world, like us, benefit from the resources that they have. 69 years on, I think it's important to ask the question, what have we achieved on this part? And don't forget that this part was set for us by the 5th Pan-African Congress, which took place in Manchester in 1995. It was the 5th Pan-African Congress, to which Nkrumah was secretary, which decided that Africans everywhere needed to accelerate the pace of national liberation. And it was the 5th Pan-African Congress which decided that national liberation meant the ability to rule over ourselves, which necessarily meant ownership of our resources and the exploitation of our resources for our own benefit. And that from this stage on, we needed to advance to the next stage of the total unity of the African continent under, and this is most important, under the banner of scientific socialism. That's most important. 69 years on, and we're talking about this a few minutes ago, Ghana is hosting a U.S. military base. 69 years on, Ghana has become the 3rd largest importer of tomato paste from Germany. 69 years on, the industrial area near Ghanaian Times has been replaced with churches. Tomorrow morning, go there. See what is happening there. Instead of the clanging of machines producing textiles, producing shoes and so on, go there tomorrow morning. It's all about his Baba, his Baba, his Baba, his Baba, his Baba. That's our state. 69 years on, even our educational curriculum is not designed by us. It's designed from outside. donors, design our educational curriculum, and push it down our throat. 69 years on, we are unable to provide enough tomatoes to the extent that our traders have to go to Burkina Faso and get slaughtered. 69 years on, the garment industry has collapsed completely. The textile industries are struggling to survive. 69 years on, we do not produce wireless sets. I mean, radio sets, we do not produce them anymore. We import all of our refrigeration. Television sets, they are imported. What have we done to ourselves in 69 years? What have we done to ourselves? And amazingly, 69 years on, we still justify the betrayal of Ghana, the subversion of Ghana's sovereignty by Kutoka and his friends. 69 years on. We still, and it makes me so sad, hear persons who claim to be our leaders make ethnocentric remarks. If you change the name of the Kutuka International Airport to Accra Airport, people from the Volta region, Ebers, must resist. Can you imagine? Yeah? And they are sitting in our parliament. We must understand that the agenda we set for ourselves 69 years ago, on 6 March 1957, has been subverted. Subverted by our enemies with the full collaboration of their local lackeys. We must remember that it is time to come back on that path of development. It is time to come back to the vision of Kwame Nkrumah. It is time to come back to the agenda which was set in Manchester in 1945 and to build that new Ghana. That new Ghana which recognizes that its sovereignty needs to be surrounded in the quest of building a united Africa. That new Ghana which can produce all of its needs and embark on the path of collective self-reliance as a way forward. Look, even Achampon tried to go back to the old path. Achampon took power in 1972. By 1975, Ghana had achieved self-sufficiency in food production. Ghana had become a net exporter of grains and so on. Achampon tried. Then, and you see, sometimes I wonder, then, 1981 happened, and a lot of people don't grasp it. We reversed back to 1966, embraced the IMF and its economic recovery program. In a matter of 2 years, 300,000 workers lost their jobs. 400 state enterprises were privatized. This is 1982.
Liquidated, not even privatized, liquidated.
We embarked on a massive devaluation of our national currency. By the year 2000, the national currency had been devalued by more than 22,000%. This is what happened to us in 1982. We wrecked the economy, destroyed what was remaining of what Nkrumah left us. Thankfully, we are beginning to reset again. And I wish that this reset agenda will succeed. That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you so much. Let me take a few of our messages. This one says, good morning, my brother and your panelists. And my problem is, can't we demonstrate against the U.S. military base to be removed from our country? And second, and 70th independence anniversary should be held at the Independence Square. We can renovate the place now. Thank you. All right, thank you for your message. This one says, in fact, if Ghana's GDP currently is around $80.5 billion and growth rate around 5.6%, then I can't imagine the rate of acceleration when all the collapsed state-owned companies are revived. We need to sit up. All right, thank you so much for your message. Mr. Presenter, please, the 4 years in our country is only good for countries which have finished laying all their infrastructure. In our case, nothing like that. 6-year term would have been better. Measures should also be in the constitution to remove bad and dangerous leaders like President Akufo-Addo and majority vote in parliament. Dramani Mohammed sent in this one from Salaga. Thank you for your message. This one says, I'm Benghazi in Pokwasi. The first man who spoke has made a great remark about Ghana. It is true, all structures have fallen. Education is bad, agri sector also gone bad, power sector or the energy sector is also gone bad, housing units, etc. Ghana is 69 years and it's in a mess. All right, thank you so much for your message. This one says, Justice, it's sad. At 69, we can't travel or transport goods and foods from the south, north, east, and west by railways, which is more economically and safer than the narrow death trap roads we have in the country. Thank you for your message. This one says, whether or not the term of office for the president should remain 4 years or 5 years should not be one-sided argument. I think the 4-year term is enough if corruption is checked. Just imagine what would have happened to the economy if the previous government was to have ruled for 2 5-year terms. Asasco in Santa Maria sent in that one. Good morning to all of you. Please, I'm General Mosquito from Bolga. I'm in my 20s, but I lost hope in our politicians. In fact, I don't listen to any political shows these days because there's no hope for we the youth. Now, what happens to all African Games audits, which was to be presented in December? May God bless you all over there. At least you have done your part. All right, thank you so much for your message. Good morning, Justice. I want the world to know today that Israel and MPP have the same mentality. Okay, all right. Thank you for your message. Good morning, please. I've observed something about the videotape we normally play about the Declaration of Independence. After Dr. Kwame Nkrumah had declared independence, he said, let's now have a new national anthem. What I hear TV and radio stations play as the anthem is God Bless Our Homeland Ghana. As far as I know, this anthem was brought by the coupists and the collaborators. The anthem at independence was Lift High the Flag of Ghana. This was a call to hard work and patriotism. I pray that your program would lead the crusade to get the original tape
of the day. If we have to go to the British archives, let's do so. As at now, we are disturbing our history. Greetings to Uncle Kwesi. I'm Ifo Lambert from Tishi. All right, thank you so much, Ifo, for your message. The fact is that if the previous government paid attention to developing our infrastructure, especially the immediate government, we would have been better off. Parochial interest will not help us. Patriotism and selflessness are thrown to the dogs. Gamali in Kumasi sent in that message. US is never a country to be called a friend. Those who still think US can't be to their help should find out from the Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, etc. in the name of US military base in the Middle East called Israel. The US have trapped a whole region into war just to please a criminal and a warmonger called Benjamin Netanyahu. The end time of the so-called superpowers has come. Inshallah. This is Aaron from Tamale. Thank you so much, Aaron, for your message. Good morning. Please tell Uncle Kwesi to drum it loudly and clearly that this war is geopolitical than religious. I have always maintained that that stance in all my discussions, given any platform of any day, any time. But my audience are stubbornly adamant in their assertion that this war is a war between Islam and Christianity. For God's sake, let us reason beyond this lazy analysis. If it were a religious war, Saudi Arabia would not be allies to Trump and Netanyahu. All right, thank you so much. You sent in this one from Fusu. Good morning, Justice. You said you are the Zongo Youth President in Ashanti region, and God is now showing us that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's vision should have been the test for Mother Ghana. God will punish those who helped the coup the coup against Nkrumah. I mean those from the UP. All right, thank you so much for that message. Let me take a few on Facebook. Our irresponsible government deliberately collapse our economy and go to the IMF bailout with conditions which impoverish the citizens. Nilati sent in that one. 69 years and what have we achieved? I see one answer. Religions. All right. Hi, boss. They said they are doing the roads, yet the contractors don't care about the current conditions of the roads under construction. They want our cars to be broken. Okay. Thank you for that message. Citizen Kojo GH also says, good evening, Mr. Host. I'm really enjoying the program this morning and also learning a lot. And please tell Uncle Kwesi Pratt to tell Uncle Kwesi I really love him. And please, I think the reason for the massive support and love for the Independence Day celebration was biblical than it is to say when the wicked rule over a nation, the citizens suffer and cry. But when the righteous is in authority, the people marry and feel safe. Good morning. Good morning to you as well. 69 years, what at all are we celebrating? Okay, thank you so much for that message. This one says, if Ghanaians have not achieved anything after attaining our independence at all, at least the Northern Territory, has achieved a lot under our Sajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah after independence. Okay, thank you so much for your message. I support Uncle Kwesi. Please do not be afraid. We are behind you. All right, thank you so much for your message. I think we have just a few minutes to go, like 8 minutes. I don't know if we can still do the Iowa East by-election.
Very, very important. See, and listening to some of your messages, you hear that there are people who have virtually lost all faith.
Yes.
You know, they've lost all hope that anything good could come out. They are seeing some level of hopelessness. You see, and I'm saying that because, and for some of them, all they know is politicians being at each other's throat the whole time. And this person accusing this person, next time the same person, the other one comes and accuses of the same things.
And that is what is dominating on the TV.
No, but that is wrong. It is wrong. You know, it is wrong. I mean, we are going to make a difference. If something is right, it's right. If something is wrong, it's wrong. If somebody has chopped money, he's chopped money. If somebody hasn't chopped money, he hasn't chopped money. Full stop. Well, what is this? You see, and what we don't realize is that we are sending a message out there. You see, look, don't accuse somebody when you're not sure. But when you start accusing somebody and you haven't got the facts, you raise the expectation of the man out there because he feels that you know this man has chopped money and therefore he expects you to deal him. But I'm going to ask the Attorney General. The other day somebody was giving him a hard time. The Attorney General was saying, I'm talking about the current Attorney General. He said he is not going to go to any court unprepared. He's going to do his homework. Allow the man to do his homework. Allow the man against whom he's doing the homework to also prepare himself. When they meet in court, everybody has his day. The one who is guilty, they deal with him. But the way we are going about our politics, we are raising the hopes of people. There are people who believe that once they've joined a political party, they are making noise inside the party, they are insulting the opponents, they are fighting, when their party comes, they'll get pushed. They are not preparing themselves to be able to do the job when the opportunity comes. But the party do feel that, well, we are in power. He was the one insulting our opponent, so let us give him the job. He makes a mess of the job. And when he's making a mess of the job, because he was working for the party, nobody wants to sack him. No! It's wrong. Ghana suffers. Ghana is not for any political party, it's for all of us. So if somebody is not doing his job, he should be fired. And when you fire him, the next man or woman who you replace that individual with, they know that if they too, they don't deliver, they will go home. And then you get the system working. And that is how we make progress. You know? Otherwise, we'll have situations where sanitation day, they'll go and stand there and read speech. Then the cultural display. Sanitation day. I mean, we have to change everything, man.
Right.
Justice, I beg. We need at this juncture, we need education to orientate our people. Our recent politics is not helping us
at all.
Ask me why. Look, it's like we are now slaves to our political parties. They don't have wrong, they are always right. Uncle Kusi, my principle is that Ghana is my country. My fair loyalty is to the country. So it is because the country exists, that's why we have political parties.
Yes.
Uncle Philip, come out and criticize your own party policy. They'll say you are a betrayer. You are a traitor. No. Just 3 days ago, when they voted in America, one congressman, GOP, all party, voted against Trump to go to war on Iran. Is he a traitor?
Yeah.
On principle ground, we have analyzed the issue and saw that waging war or conflict in Iran is needless.
Yeah.
So you get to people and you say, NDC, the minister has done, it all started, Uncle Philip, London. When these things, we go for time rolling, we're going, people embezzle, they take them to court, party people mash up to go to court. You see where we are today. And now people don't care about what happened to the country. What they care about, their political party should survive. And now the country is suffering. The country is suffering. And nobody cares.
It's true.
And when they also come, they have to be able to sort out the food soldiers.
Yeah.
Just as we are not old. But when I finished training college, before even my last paper, Uncle Kosi, my postings came. I know where I was to go and start teaching before I finished my last.
That's how the system
Today,
was.
getting appointed, what do you call it? What is it? Posting. It's a whole mess.
That is
Nation Training College. It's automatic.
I'm commending the Ministry of Interior for the new system.
1990, was it 93, 94? I wanted to join the military. When they came to Upper West One School Stadium, there was not any politician there. Exactly. It was the military officers and we those who were interested with our SS certificates and all those things. They were taking us all the retunes. So those that they will pick there. No party chairman involved, no minister of interior. You know, at that time, I didn't even know who is the minister of interior.
The system was working.
Today, everything is now reduced to politics. Employment, everything. The country is sharply divided on political lines. MPP, NDC.
No.
But that is our problem.
Mujib, you see, I agree with you. But you see, let us also agree that, in fairness, in the last government, what did we see?
No, but I'm not limiting it to only one party.
But I want to just give one example.
Yeah, they are all guilty.
The members of parliament of the ruling government rose up against their finance minister. The members of parliament, the ruling government, they said, no, this man, the way he's going about the business, it's too bad.
Exactly. Bad.
The president said no. That's why I say, at the end of the day, everything it boils down to leadership. Leadership. You know, the way, the tone that the leader will set is what tends to show that, you know,
that is true.
Give the truth.
That is true.
It's leadership.
That is true.
Things that people will not have dared do under President Kufuor. It's different from.
Yeah, that is true. It's because of the leadership of the individual.
That is it.
No, you can't mess up.
So at the end of the day, you see, and then leadership too. And like you're saying that, you know, look, a president can do well, fantastic, for 3 years. If they're not careful on him, the last year will be a mess. It is human, it's leadership. So we must have a system and we must all be fair. When the president is doing something that we think that, Mr. President, this thing you are doing, watch it, be careful, this and that. If the president himself to somebody who he'll listen. So it's true. What these people are saying, it makes sense. Then it helps the president to keep in line and at the end of the day do the good thing. President Kufuor will tell you how even in his own government, the criticism he used to get from his own ministers. It was not out of any malice. But they say, no, Mr. President, I don't agree with you. You see? And you tell you that it made him do a better job. So if you are a leader in any position, and you don't want to listen to criticism, listen to any even alternate view.
Don't you think it is also the quality of people we bring into our political phase?
Yes.
You see, when we talk about these things, once upon a time I was in a flight and somebody told, we were having a conversation, the man said, you know, for you to get into politics, you should have served yourself. Serve your immediate society. Because before you think of serving your nation, you have people who have not even seen life straight away join or step into the fray on the front line. There is nothing wrong about it when those people are exceptionally good. But again, we should ask, what is the foundation? How do people get in? How do people get there? That is where the issue is. Because if you have a quality that is needed, right, in cabinet, you don't think that a president can sit down and override everything they think? No, it will not happen. You know, because assuming you have, let's look at Kufuor's time. You have J.H. Mensah and Kufuor sitting on the table in cabinet and they are talking about the economy, and you think that President Kufuor, for being president, will just override J.H. Mensah. It will not happen. So you see, it's also the quality of people we are bringing. We are bringing up. One thing that we need to really look at is our educational institutions. For me, I think there is something still amiss. Look, back then, you see, where we say, oh, it's computer, the computer have thrown the person here and all that. You know, it has really affected our sports. I was watching recently on the social media these Kumasi athletics going on and all that. And I felt so proud that, look, at least somebody has recognized that and is pushing that up there. Before, there were headmasters who would go to the schools and scout for good athletes and footballers and bring them to the school. How did Asian and all those boys ended up in a certain school? Were they that academic? Today, it is a certain class and people with a certain background in academics that gets the chance to go into certain schools. Before, we knew footballers who were poached, athletes who were poached. So the entire fiber of our system,
we have to review it.
Must be looked at again.
We have to review it.
The whole thing is broken. 69, yet broken. I think we must just realize it and go back to certain things where people are honest to this nation and want to live true to this nation. I think that is what that nationalistic mindset is what we need to put into everybody. And I think things will change naturally.
Right, thank you so much. Mr. Brian, is there anything more you want to add? Okay, let me do these two messages and then I wrap up. Good morning, Uncle Brad and other panelists. My name is Professor Ibrahim Zubeiru. I believe that everything you are discussing on the development of Ghana is great. 69 years down the lane, we do not have good roads, proper basic schools across the country, woefully inadequate hospitals, and the required equipment to them. Very bad roads, improper irrigation practices, impulse farming practices, etc. I can tell you on authority that all these can be fixed if we at least sacrifice ourselves for it and stop the greed about what is in for me. Our big brother, His Excellency JDM, can have very beautiful plans and policies to move Ghana to the best level, but all boils down to two things. One, money to execute these projects. Then number two, selfless Ghanaians who are willing to support the vision of the president and to work towards making it a reality. It will be a failure if we only talk and talk without action. We have tried to let Excellency JDM know how to tap the resources Ghana has to help him fund all these programs so he could succeed. But our own people are not ready to help him, so he should open his eyes. We cannot afford another president from MPP-led Akufo-Addo style. Ghanaians are watching us. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prof, for your message. Happy birthday to Madam Amma Mausi of National Coordinator of Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skill Development Program. And this is coming from the producer of Alhaji&Alhaji, Tijani, here at Pan-African Television. This is what time will allow us on the program. Make a time with us. Same time next week. I sat in for my brother, Sena Novo. Have a lovely afternoon. Goodbye.
He has labored.